Hey guys, Poker Blog. I believe this is number 4. I played a cash game on Saturday. I was in for 300 and I cashed out. I think I was up to maybe 1200, maybe 1250. um, I played for, I don't know, maybe 4 hours, and I just called around and got up and left with 1100. So not quite a 4x profit, but it was pretty good. Um, I didn't really have that many great hands. I kind of played almost any 2 cards, and that strategy just seemed to work out for me. I mean, one time I had an ace king, and there was, I believe, a raise. I don't know if it was $20 or what, but I basically had bumped it up 100 on top of the 20, and I want to say um, it was something like this, and I can't remember how many people called 100. I want to say it was probably 3 players that called 100 pre-flop, and so the pot size was probably 360 maybe was the pot on the flop, and I bet 150, and I think a blank. I think everyone just folded. I can't remember. I played so many hands; it's hard for me to remember every single hand. Um, like I said, I really do not have very many premium hands, and the times that I did have a premium hand, I really didn't win anything. I mean, I had king queen suited one time. I had pocket kings one time. I think I had pocket queens one time. Uh, there was a big hand that I had. I had king seven, and there was like an ace. Anyway, there was 2 clubs on the flop. I believe I bet. I can't remember what the third card was, but I believe I bet 50 on the flop, and someone had raised me uh, basically 170 more, and I called that, and the turn was a blank. It wasn't a club, and basically the no, there was a bet on the flop. I think everyone just called the 50. Um, on the turn was when someone raised. I want to say it was 175 on the turn, and me and another player called, and the river was a blank, so there wasn't another club that came. But the pot was probably a $2,000 pot, so to call an extra $200 to potentially win, be guaranteed to win, well, almost guaranteed to win. $2,000, I think was very much worth it, but I didn't win that. I didn't win that hand. I'm trying to think of the other hands where I made money. Um, when you're playing these stakes, it really and all it takes is one or two hands, and that could make or break your night. And um, like I said, I tried to stay out of trouble the best I could. One time, this was probably a bad play on my part, but I had something like uh, I want to say I had like ace nine suited or something. This is in a bomb pot, and the top board had like a ace something, and the bottom board, the nine was the top, the highest card on the flop, and but there was a very tight player that had busted me several times. That probably one of the best players that I play with. He's a very tight player. He only plays a couple hands. He only usually plays the nuts. I want to say the top board, there was two aces, but I think it had paired. I think the turn was another six or something. No. I can't remember exactly what happened, but I was just, I don't know what I was scared of. But anyway, I was thinking that the other guy, maybe he had, he could have pocket sixes or something, and he had full house right here. He could have flopped a full house. And all I have is just three aces. I just have trips. And if I would have known that he was actually going for the bottom board, he actually ended up having a straight on the bottom board. But if I'd have known that he was going after the bottom board, I would have, easily won the top one with trip aces. But I didn't know that though. So I mean, there was a lot of, and I'm not sure if this was the same suit or off suit or what, but when that guy is in the hand, I just get very, very wary. And basically, I would have only been playing for a split pot, and I could have been drawn dead. So I decided to get out of that hand. Even those trip aces on the top board was a very strong hand. I just because of the other player because he usually does not bet out unless he has something very strong. So I just got out of his way, and I was just very lucky. I mean, at one point, like I said, I started out with 300. That ace king hand where I had raised 100 pre-flop. I mean, that was probably a $400 pot right there that I had won, and then I won, another couple hands for another couple hundred, and next thing you know, I'm up over 1,200, and at one point I start losing a little bit, and next thing you know, I'm down to 400 again, and I get something like queen nine, and I want to say there was probably we were playing 2-5, but the straddle, the max straddle, there's a straddle, a restraddle, and a max straddle, and I think the straddle is 10, the restraddle is 20, and the max straddle is 30. So so we had one guy was straddling for 30, the other guy was straddling for 20. So usually when you do the straddles, usually there's not that many players that will play. Not a lot of players want to pay $30 just to see a flop, and especially if you got a bad hand, they definitely don't want to see a flop for $30. But anyway, there was several callers, and then one guy raises it to 100, and 3 players called the 100. And guess what I do? I move all in for $400, and no, there was only one. I'm sorry. One guy raised to 100. One guy called the 100, and I go all in, and the initial raiser calls my all in, and the other guy folds. So it's basically me and another guy heads up in 800, no, probably a $900 pot, and actually he had ace king. Actually, ace king against this hand is probably a 60-40. Let me see. Pretty much 60-40. So I was a dog in this one, but we ran it 3 times, and lo and behold, I think I got a flush on the first board. I think I got a straight on the second board, and a third board he got an ace or something. So I ended up winning 2 out of 3, 2/3. I really like this. I really like that play, even though my hand is not that good. Because the other player had put in $100 and folded to my re-raise, even if I lose, say 2 out of 3 and only win 1 out of 3, and if you got a 40% chance to win, you should win 1 out of 3. There was $100 of dead money on that one. Plus, there was, I don't know how many people had called the 30. There was a lot. Maybe 6 or 7 people had called the 30 or called the 20. I think it was a $30 straddle. So I think there was several players that had called the 30 and then folded to the re-raise of 100. Or it might have been 100 on top of the 30. But anyway, that was a massive pot, and that really got me, back up over 1,200 or so. After that, I had a couple hands that I folded. I had something stupid one time, like 8-2 offsuit. I don't recommend people to be playing this hand. And anyway, there was the guy raised $40 pre-flop, and I want to say I was in the big blind for 5 anyway. So it really would not have been a good call, but there was 4 players, and if I get a good flop, I could have easily busted the guy. And lo and behold, the flop was 2 ace 2. And as you can see, I'm a 90% favorite in this situation. And I think he had bet 40 pre-flop and got called by 3 other people. So the flop, the money in the pot for the flop is 160 already. And I want to say he had bet something like 85 on the flop. And I probably would have just moved all in on him, and he would have called me and gave me $700 probably. So even though it sounds like a lot, to call $30, $40 pre-flop with something stupid like 8-2, now it's possible. somebody, you know, has ace two, and you're drawing dead, and you think that trip deuces are good, and here, lo and behold, they flop a full house, or or maybe they got pocket aces and flop the you know, aces over twos. So it could backfire on you, but sometimes to see a flop for $30 or $40, you know, in hopes of hitting a miracle flop and winning, if he has $600 or $700 and you know, and you have him covered, you know, you could basically stack him and win all his money. So, you know, $30 to win $800 doesn't sound like such a bad deal. But anyway, I folded the hand. I didn't see the flop, and that was a hand I wish I had back, because I think he would have slammed the cards on the table and had a couple cuss words and maybe even slapped the table. But anyway, there was a couple hands that I played badly. One hand I had, I want to say it was a low pocket pair. It might have been fours or something, and I think there was two low cards on the flop, and I called a couple streets, and ended up losing like $100 or so calling two streets. That was stupid. But sometimes you get a feeling, you know, that you just think a four's coming. I mean, it sounds crazy. There's only two fours left in the deck, but sometimes you get a feeling. And last night I was just kind of in the zone, and I had something stupid again, like any two cards, and I had like the bottom end of a gut shot straight draw, and someone had bet, and I had raised them $100, and everyone folded, and I picked up a nice pot, you know, picked up probably a $150 pot, maybe $200 pot, and you can say maybe that was a dumb idea, you know, risking $100 to win $200 on almost a pure bluff, but you can also say that going all in with Queen 9 suited for $400 was stupid too, and it probably was. But the thing was that, you know, someone had raised $100, a player that I want to isolate and I want to play with, because his range is very wide. He could have 2-4 offsuit, you know, or he could have pocket aces, but his range is so wide that I like to play with him, and he's a good guy, and it's fun to play with him, even if I lose. But and then when the other guy had called the 100, that was my opportunity to put on the pressure to him. All right, you're willing to call 100. Are you willing to call an extra 300 on top of that? You know, and he folded. So now that 100 that he put in, the second guy put in, now is our money to split. And like I said, even if I only win 1 out of 3 because he had put that extra 100 in there, I probably would not even lose. I mean, I would still lose, but I wouldn't be hurt as bad, because the other guy had put that extra $100 in there. Like, for example, in that situation, if I win only 1 out of 3, and the guy had put an extra $100, I might only lose half my money. You know, I might have 400 and then go down to 200. You know, so I don't lose everything. Um, so from that point of view, I believe that is um, why it makes more sense. Whereas, you think you can, the max you can lose is 400, but in reality, assuming we're going to run it 3 times, more than likely, I'm going to win one out of those 3, and I'm going to be left with at least 200 in chips instead of 400. But if I win all 3, um, then uh, then you got a $900 pot you just won, and or more, maybe 1,000. But anyway, like I can't remember all the hands I played, but I played a lot of junky hands because I really didn't get very many premium hands. I remember one hand I had something like Jack 10, and I want to say there was like a king and a 8 or something on the flop, and I think I bet 50, and I think someone re-raised me pretty big, and then on the turn a blank came and they shove all in for 300 or something, and I fold. And I actually would have won that pot because they did run it out, and if we ran it one time, another diamond would have came. But I hate to put my tournament at life at risk. At that point, I was all in. Would have been all in for 300. Would have stacked me, and this was near the beginning, and I hate to put all my chips at risk for just a 1 in 3 chance to hit a flush. And my flush may not even have been good enough. There was another guy in the hand that had something like that, so he would have had a smaller flush. Um, but I think the guy who won had something like, you know, something like King 8 or something like that. But anyway, in these type of situations, I would ideally, from now on, try to check more on the flop instead of bet, because you're kind of left in a tough situation if somebody re-raises you on the flop, say 1 or 200, and then then a blank comes on the turn, and they put another big bet or 2 or 300 on the turn, and then you're in the same situation I was in, where you want to pay $300 just for a 1 in 3 chance of hitting a flush, and your flush may or may not even be good. I mean, if he's got 2 pair on the flop, he easily could have he could get a king or 8 and get a full house, and even if my flush does come, my flush may not be good. So, but yeah, the big opportunity I had to win that $2,000 pot was, when, like I said, there was like an ace and a 10 of clubs or something, and I can't remember what um, I think there was like a 7. I think I had a pair as well. But they had, like I said, they had bet. I want to say 200 or so on the turn, and to me it was worth it to call 200 just to see if I get my flush. And if a 7 came, I think my 7 would have been good as well. I think trip 7s would have won as well. So to pay 200 to potentially win a $2,000 pot, I think was well worth it, even though it didn't work out in that situation. I mean, I had several chances to even make significantly a lot more money than I did. Like I said, if I would have won that pot, that would have been 2,000 on top of the 1,100. So that would have been 3,100. Um, but I was pretty happy with my play. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys.